What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today for another deck profile, and this time it's for Paleozoic frogs. So we are at the end of the format, meaning that the format's a bit more specialized and thought out. Paleozoic probably isn't the best pick to be playing in the current kind of format. Going forward, though, with Brave and stuff like that, the format will slow down a little bit, although it will take a bit of a ban list to kind of take care of a lot of things. Lyrillus Tri-Brigade is not a very good matchup for this deck. They just kind of keep pushing, and it can be a pretty rough time of it. But yeah, I was going to put at the end of this deck profile as well, like a list of all the costings and stuff for this in Master Duel. But Totally Awesome's at 1 in Master Duel, so this deck, again, on there, isn't the best thing to be playing. But who knows, maybe when they update the ban list, this can be something you can check out. Hopefully when they do update that, I'll try and have at the end of all the deck profiles, like all the costings and everything for Master Duel, like rare, ultra rare, whichever. But yeah, let's get into the deck profile for this one. Before we do get started on this one, though, it is brought to you, of course, by yourplaymat.com, who got us our beautiful NolanTCG extra deck sleeves. These are available on yourplaymat.com, as well as you can get custom sleeves and custom playmats, so whatever you need for the current format. There is an affiliate link in the description down below that does get you a little bit of a discount on your order. Also, enter the code NOLAN10YP for 10% off your order. Also kicks back a little bit to the channel, so everything will be very much appreciated. If you're shopping there, you're getting custom sleeves, custom playmats done. Make sure to enter our code at checkout. But let's get on into this deck profile. Okay, so starting us off, we of course have the starter. It is 3 copies of our Swap Frog. Just your standard engine starter for everything. Just special from hand by discarding water. Foolish. Gets you to do Totally Awesome if you open it and one other card in your hand. And then you can always recur it, summon it again, keep going. Then after that, we have our 3 copies of Dupe Frog or Professor Frog. You set him, he gets attacked. If he didn't miss timing, it'd be good. I just want this card to not miss timing. Maybe that's what the support could have been if we won the Creator card a year ago, was just Dupe Frog that didn't miss timing. And then lastly, the last of our, I guess, our Frog cards is our Ronin Totem, banishing from grave to summon them back. Always going to be good. Then we go into our hand trap lineup. A bit more of an expansive hand trap lineup to what I normally play because I wanted to play effectively Effect Veiler. We are, of course, playing the 3 copies of Effect Veiler. It is going to feed into our extra deck package, as well as it's quite good in the current format for trying to stop decks from popping off, essentially. Those targeted negations are quite good to try and dodge around things. And then the other hand trap we've opted to play is 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Again, good generic card. And then we go into our spell line. So we're just playing the 4 spells. 3 copies of Pot of Desires is the draw spell of choice. I did consider playing Pot of Prosperity and ultimately just tossed up between that and Pot of Desires. In the end, Desires is what I went with, but you can switch it up if you do want to go that route. And then the other spell card is 1 copy of Called by the Grave. This deck doesn't necessarily get completely destroyed by like 1 hand trap, but Called by the Grave is just a generically good spell to kind of have floating around. And given that we are playing like the access code line in the extra deck, playing the 1 copy of Called by the Grave is always good to increase our spell count for Selene. And then we get into our trap line. So of course we have our 3 copies of Paleozoic Dynamiscus for the start of our Paleo line. Of course, get you that discard and banish. 3 copies of Candida follow that up for our Book of Moon. Always good to book something down. It can't be used as an Xyz or Elite material, which is always good. And then 3 copies of Paleozoic Olenoides come after that for our spell and trap removal. Spell and trap removal is not super important in the current meta, but yeah, it's always good to have your archetypal spell and trap removal because it will come up. And then we get into our more generic stuff. So we do start off with 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Again, targeted negation, good in the current format. And this one is a trap card, of course. So we can start to prop off our Paleozoic cards. 3 copies of Solemn Judgment follow that up. We, of course, play our mixed rarity as always. Again, just good card for going first. Generically stops everything. Taking that life point damage is a little bit rough, but you kind of get what you pay for with Solemn Judgment. That does apply the same too for Solemn Strike. We are just playing 2 of that. You can find space for a 3rd in the deck if you want to play the 3rd, but I feel as though it's not 100% necessary at the moment. And then, of course, following that up is 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. This is one of the main cards we're playing in here for Lyrillus Tri-Brigade because they can go very wide very quickly. We want to shut that down with the Torrential Tribute and just blow it all up, and hopefully they can't rebuild. And then, of course, lastly, we are playing 2 copies of Compulsory Evacuation Device. Again, just to remove things from the board. It does target, so that can sometimes like ruin things. But overall, I found against things like, what's the deck? Sword Soul. if you remove like the standard summon and that token's still on board, they can have a little bit of problems because they struggle to play around like with tennies and stuff like that. But yeah, that is it for the main deck. Okay, now we do get into our extra deck, and of course, starting us off, we have our 3 copies of Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome is totally awesome. That's the card that makes this whole deck go around. You want to make your rank 2s, generate your advantage, and then of course have your negations. Then after that, we play our 2 copies of Skycav Centuria. This is typically what we'll be using to get through to our Zeus package. It's also a bit of cheat removal for getting rid of some problem cards. Then we have our Paleozoic cards in the extra deck, so the 2 copies of Anomalous Icarus and the 1 copy of Opabenia. They each have their application and they come up from time to time. Not as frequently as you would expect, but they do come up, which is why we still play them in the deck. You do have a lot of space in this extra deck to move around things if you want to move stuff around. Then for our Zeus package, we have, of course, the 1 copy of Downed Magician, followed up with the 1 copy of AA Zeus. Overall, yeah, just Zeus things, doing Zeus things, clearing out the entire board. You can never complain about completely wiping the opponent's board. And then we have our Utopic Draco Future package. Something that also doesn't come up quite a lot, but again, you do have the space in the extra deck to mess around with things. And I've ultimately opted for the Utopic Draco package in here. And then we do get to our link line. So this is effectively just a transitional package to get you through to Access Code Talker. So we have the 1 copy of Halka Fibrax. You're typically going to be making this with essentially any of your rank 2s plus a hand trap. So you're going to normal summon the hand trap, go into Halka Fibrax. Halka will special summon your Effect Veiler. You can use that to then go into your Selene, and if enough spells have been played during the match, you then get through to your Access Code Talker. That is effectively the reason why you're paying this package. It's a game ender. You get your 5/3 Access Code Talker. It is just still a general application that every deck's been playing for quite a while now. You don't play as many spells, so you will be relying a little bit on your opponent to activate spells and trap cards to resolve this package, but spells are pretty prevalent in Yu-Gi-Oh, aren't they? So hopefully that will not be an issue for you. But that does wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations or things you would change, do make sure to comment them down below. I forgot to say it at the start of this video, but do hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we're always happy to have new people to the channel. I did mention earlier, we'll be doing Master Duel content, so like every single other YouTuber, we're going to be doing some Master Duel stuff. Tune in on the weekend, we're going to be doing a Master Duel stream on Sunday night. So yeah, do check that out. And as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.